What's going on, everybody? Jesus loves you. My name is Cody, and this is the Friday episode of that Christian news show that I do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Truth! And before we get into the news today, I just wanted to wish a happy birthday to someone who is very close to my heart and means so much to me. The internet. At least January 1st was kind of the internet's birthday, but not really. There was ARPANET before the internet. And the two are kind of the same thing, but 30 years ago on January 1st, ARPANET switched over to internet, which uses an IP address. And it's so crazy because I am 20 years old, and I have literally grown up with the internet around me my entire life. So, happy birthday, internet. You have done so much for us, and we love you very much. And Billy Graham is in the news today because for the 56th time, he has made it into USA's top 10 most admired people in the world. And that is awesome because that is the most anyone has ever gotten on that list. And the way that USA Today does this is they ask a bunch of random people if they could choose anyone in the world to be the most influential person of that year, who would it be? And then they choose that person. And you don't have like an option to choose different names. They just write down any name they want to, and Billy Graham 56 times has been chosen as one of the top 10 most admired people in the world. If you don't know who Billy Graham is, he is probably the most influential American Christian there is. Graham is 95 years old, but he has done countless things for Christianity within the United States. And then our next few stories I found kind of interesting, but I do want to point out that I do not really like talking about gun control because I see truth to both sides and don't have an opinion either way. And our first story out of those is about Pastor James Maccabee, or Triple P, which stands for Pistol Packing Pastor. Like most churches, on Sundays the pastor preaches, but on Saturdays the church looks a little different because he teaches gun safety for $50. And now, if you are a teacher, because of Sandy Hook, he is going to give you free lessons on gun safety. The preacher goes as far to carry a gun on him when he's preaching, just in case there's any dangers. But then you go to a church in Dallas and they are doing a buyback guns where they buy your pistols for $50 and assault rifles for $200 so that they can destroy them. And they say this protects people because those people won't have guns anymore. So here's my thing. I understand that if people don't have guns, they won't use guns. But it can almost be guaranteed that the criminals aren't going to the church and selling their guns. I mean, if a church is asking for guns, they're probably getting guns from church-going people. So like I said, I really don't have a completely formed opinion on this. I'm back and forth all the time because if criminals have guns and the people who aren't criminals don't have guns, then the criminals have that upper hand, because if you outlaw guns, criminals are still going to use guns. But then you have a Christian pastor teaching other Christians how to use guns, and the question of morality comes in place. Should Christians be using guns for self-defense? And again, I don't have a formed opinion on this, but I can say that personally, as a Christian, I am not a pacifist. Now, I know there are a lot of Christians out there, though, who will say complete pacifism. You should never use violence as a Christian. And the worry that many pastors have is that if you are telling your congregation that they should use guns, that it will be perceived that Christians say, love your gun more than thy neighbor. Now, the reason that I am not a pacifist is just because I simply believe there are certain times where not going to war would be less loving than to go to war. And when I say that, I usually think of World War II and how unloving it would have been for the United States to have not gone to war against Hitler and let all those people die, than to have gone to war and had those casualties. And many people died because of Christians, but is that wrong or not? And so the question of the day is not so much on gun control, but it is, do you believe that Christians should be completely peaceful, or do you believe that there is a time for war, like Ecclesiastes 3:8? Some people will say, yeah, we need to love our neighbors at all times. Other people say, no, Ecclesiastes 3:8 says there is a time for war and a time for peace. There's a time for love and there's a time for hate. But I know for a lot of people there's a big argument against it, saying that, you know, it is not our culture and not our time. We are in the new covenant and we need to love our neighbor at all times because the war, we're past that. But anyways, like I said, I don't really have an opinion on it. I want to know what your guys' opinion on it, so please leave a comment in the comment section below with your answer. Leave a video response if you want to. My name's Cody. I'm bringing you news that Christians care about every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. In closing, let the haters hate, let the Christians pray. And to everybody, like, subscribe. I'll see you later, and God bless.